Today we are putting an affordable, portable 14-inch touchscreen monitor to the test, featuring an IPS panel and VESA mounting. This, my friends, is the so-called WIMAXIT M1400CT. It is currently available on Amazon for about $170 or even $160 if you apply that $10 coupon. That's a really amazing and attractive price, at least as far as my humble opinion goes for such a touch device. The M1400CT by WIMAXIT comes packed with a lot of features, but how well are these implemented, and what about the overall build quality, the actual image quality, and touchscreen capabilities? Is all that even any good? What are the advantages and disadvantages here? Because there's some of both. As far as what comes included, it's looking good. In addition to the screen, which sits within its so-called smart cover, we also get the appropriate power supply specified with 5 volts and 2 amps. All the cables, that includes a USB-A to Type-C cable for power, and then either USB-C or mini HDMI to full-size HDMI for the video signal. But there's something to keep in mind regarding the touch functionality, more on that in a moment. Finally, some paperwork, along with a microfiber cloth to clean a screen, because since we're dealing with a touch screen, we're about to leave tons of fingerprints behind. First, let's talk about the overall build quality. The monitor, the screen itself, sits in a high-quality aluminum case, coming in at dimensions of only 321 by 191 by 9mm. That is quite compact, even for a 14-inch device. Out of the box, it sits within this so-called smart cover that attaches magnetically to the monitor and can therefore additionally be used as a stand. What I think is great here is that the display is not only limited to its smart cover enclosure, as there are standard VESA mounting holes on the back of the actual device, meaning that you could easily attach the monitor to a full-fledged monitor stand, bracket, or even to the wall. Now, before we go too deep into the details, here is a brief overview of the specs we're dealing with today. The resolution here is 1080p Full HD, and at the heart is a color-accurate IPS panel with a claimed coverage of 98% of the sRGB color gamut. The refresh rate is relatively low at 60 Hz, but it's pretty standard and common. However, there seem to be some contradictions when it comes to the max brightness level. On Amazon, WIMAXIT states that the monitor achieves up to 400 nits, while the specs in the included manual states a maximum of 300. Either way, I find the display definitely bright enough indoors. As far as ports and the likes are concerned, starting off on the right, a mini HDMI input, followed by 2 USB-C, one of which is intended for power, and finally an old-fashioned micro USB port for OTG functionality, for instance. Moving on to the opposite side, we get a power/input signal button, then a wheel button or some kind of rocker for further navigation, and finally a 3.5mm headphone output. There are lousy 1-watt speakers at the top left and right, which do provide stereo sound, but have nothing to do with quality whatsoever. Now here are a few tips on how to get the touchscreen up and running. By using the mini HDMI video input, practically every modern device, be it a PC, MacBook, gaming console, etc., is supported, but only as a video input. The touchscreen does not work in conjunction with HDMI here. That's a very important detail. In order to be able to use the touch element of the screen, you must connect the monitor via USB-C. USB-C not only carries the video signal, but also transmits the necessary data along with the touch signal. However, a requirement for this to work at all would first of all be a device that has a USB-C port, and secondly, that such a port can also provide a video signal. Before buying, make sure you first do your research whether the PC in question actually has this feature. Otherwise, you are just buying a monitor and not a touch-capable display. The monitor can basically be used for a variety of devices, including those running Windows operating systems, but also Android. The touch functionality, however, does not work with macOS. A little tip for Windows 11 users: in order to automatically make the on-screen keyboard pop up for text inputs, you should set the touch keyboard setting within Windows to always. This means the keyboard for touch functionality will always appear when text needs to be entered. In my opinion, Windows should take care of this automatically, the emphasis being on should. 10-point multitouch is supported, so several fingers can be used simultaneously, basically making use of various gestures and swipes. But what are my thoughts on the actual image quality? Is it even convincing? I can answer that with a yes. The quality, brightness, color accuracy, as well as viewing angles are satisfactory. Most of us won't need to make any further adjustments as far as colors, gamma, and the like are concerned. I can even use it as it is out of the box for content creation. A pretty serious drawback here, especially for the gamers among you, being the poor responsiveness of the screen and the input lag. The monitor is not particularly fast, and you certainly do notice that when even moving around the mouse cursor or when opening and closing windows. Well, that's definitely sufficient for watching movies and handling office-related tasks. However, I personally find the monitor a bit slow for today's standards. The touch responsiveness isn't too bad actually, but it can seem a bit delayed due to the mentioned monitor speed or lack thereof. To get into the OSD menu, one presses the wheel button or rocker and then navigate around. We are being offered quite a bit of customization settings and whatnot. Surprisingly, even FreeSync can be turned on. Conclusion. Ultimately, the WIMAXIT M1400CT left a good impression on me. The image quality is good and everything works out of the box plug and play, provided you have a device that can output a video signal via USB-C. But of course, the touch capability could also be viewed as an extra, a bonus feature, because even as a standalone monitor, the M1400CT at a price of $160 or $170 is not a bad deal. For all those who happily can go without the touchscreen functionality, or those that simply don't have a suitable USB-C port, there still is the mini HDMI port, meaning that the monitor is compatible with tons and tons of devices. Just use the included mini HDMI cable with the full-size HDMI on one end. For me, a portable monitor like this one, even with a touchscreen as a bonus, is something extremely useful, so I can somewhat look past the monitor's poor responsiveness. So anyone who can live with those mentioned downsides can pick up the screen without any hesitation. I think it's particularly cool that VESA mounting is possible here. The WIMAXIT M1400CT is well worth recommending as far as I'm concerned. Now here's my question to you. Have you ever used a touchscreen on the PC or with a laptop? Have you ever wanted one, or at least wanted to give one a try? If you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate a like, and if not, let the dislike button take care of it. With that said, thank you all for watching, and until the next one.